Hi, I'm Randy Van Wagner, president of Mohawk Valley Community College, and I'm here with Sandy Cummings, who started working at the college in 1986 in the Office of Student Life. And since 2008, she's been the coordinator of student activities. So Sandy, thank you so much for helping MVCC celebrate 75 years.
Thank you very much, Randy, for including me. It's an honor to participate.
Great. So tell me how you came to work at MVCC in 1986.
Well, I was actually a student here. I graduated from MV in May of 1986, and then I actually applied for the position of secretary in the residence life or the student life office. It's now residence life. And I got hired as it was a stenographer position that I got hired as. So that's how I started working here at the college. So it was only like a couple months that I was out of work, and then I was right back here again. So that was great. It was wonderful.
A great job placement program, right? Graduate.
Exactly. Yep. And I was working for Rose Button at the time, and it was housing. It was, getting students into the dorms, getting them placed in their rooms, sending out their, information of who their roommate was going to be, all that sort of thing. And it was also a little bit of discipline as well. She was she was that person as well. So, but it was mostly the housing that we were doing. So.
And you were in that role for quite a few years?
18 years. 18 years I was the secretary in the student life office. And then I started noticing what student activities was doing and how it was so positive for the students. They were creating events. They were joining these clubs and getting these clubs up and going. And I thought, that's so interesting. So I started working part-time for student activities. I was working nights and weekends, doing events, things like that. I was the advisor to the Black Student Union for like 5 or 6 years. And I decided to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree, which was great because MVCC paid for my bachelor's degree, which was wonderful up at SUNY Poly.
One class at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Just part-time, couple classes at a time. And that was wonderful. It was a good experience. And I graduated in August of 2003. And I actually was promoted to technical assistant for student activities and residence life in January 2004. So I started working during the academic year. I was doing clubs and organizations, student congress, leadership opportunities for the students. And then during the summer and over winter break, I would be working on housing and the orientation program for the residence halls and things like that. And then in 2008, I was promoted to coordinator of student activities. So
great.
And long.
And what, 13 years later in that seat. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Student activities, residence life over 35 years, seen and experienced a lot at the college.
Yeah.
Are there any memories that stand out for you that speak to what MVCC means to you, or maybe, prominent in the development of MVCC, or just stand out for one reason or another for you?
I think the connection that we make with the students, I think that that's grown a lot, and we've put more emphasis on that. I mean, it's always been there, but I think we've put more emphasis on it now. And I think that it's really paying off. I mean, the connections that I've made with students over the years, I can mention some names to you. Selma. I'm sure you remember Selma. She was our program board director. She was our trustee, I think, right when you first started.
Yeah, she was my first trustee.
Megan Vogt, she was our president. These are students that I've made connections with that I still reach out to, and they reach out to me, and I talk to them today. So it's wonderful to make these connections. And I think that's a big part of what MVCC is about, is those connections that we make with the students, and, we're making things better for them. So that's just a wonderful memory that I have. I mean, it's just, there's so many things associated with the students, the events that they plan, the dances that they put on. I mentioned that I was the advisor to the Black Student Union. They would put on dances till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I would be in the snack bar with like 300 students dancing in the snack bar, having a good time. And it was these wonderful large scale events that were just great, So
that's incredible. And how long has late night breakfast been around, and what is that event, breakfast. And how did it get started, and what is it?
Late night breakfast was started with an idea from the students because they wanted something, they were hungry later at night. Literally, they were hungry later at night, and we didn't happen to have any like food service options later. So we decided, let's do, something. Would you want breakfast? What would you want to eat? And they said, yeah, that would be good. So it literally started from the students with late night breakfasts. And I think it kind of started maybe like around 8 o'clock or so, but then it got pushed later and later. So now it's at 10 o'clock at night. And we actually have, yourself and other administrators and faculty and staff come in, and they actually serve the students. It happens every semester. They serve the students breakfast, and it's a great opportunity for them to connect with the students.
It's all right around
finals.
the exam, yeah, final.
Right before
final
finals,
exam
so they
week.
can have a little fun before finals.
Yeah.
The other thing that we used to do is we called it Chocolate Hawk, where we would serve them like melted milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and white chocolate. And then they would have like strawberries, bananas, cookies, things to dip it into. And we would give them like chocolate candy bars, Hershey Kisses. We had chocolate milk. We had chocolate ice cream, everything chocolate. And at one point, it was so funny. One student actually came up. She's like, "Can I just have a glass of water?" I was like, "Okay, no problem." And it was funny because they would get all sugared up, and then I'd send them back down to the door.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
oh my.
but yeah, different events that, stand out and that they had a really good time with and they had fun with. So I think we need to bring Chocolate Hawk back.
Yeah, that sounds, boy, as much as I love chocolate, I'm in favor. So over the years, I mean, for many years now, the MVCC's had more than 50 student clubs and organizations.
Yeah.
Any memories flow from that regarding, interesting clubs we used to have that we no longer have, or genesis stories of particular clubs that we have now, of how they came into being and sustained in some way?
I'm trying to think. I know that we used to send, we used to have a paintball club. It hasn't been too active lately, but when that got going, it was like when paintball was new.
Yeah.
And it was just, they just loved it. I mean, they would go out to places out in Syracuse or out to Rome, and they actually went down to Pennsylvania one time and they had a blast. They spent a weekend down in Pennsylvania. They came back. When you get hit, have you ever been hit with a paintball?
Yes, I have.
It hurts and it leaves a bruise. So they actually came back all bruised and everything, but they had so much fun. I mean, it was just, and just different clubs that, like, it's the hot thing at the time, but then it kind of fades away a little bit. We used to have a hacky sack club. Okay. We used to have like a ping pong table tennis club, because we actually had, where the career services office is now, used to be a ping pong room with like 4 ping pong tables.
Wow, serious.
Yeah. So we used to have a, what did they call it? Not an 8-ball club, but like a pool club.
Oh, okay, sure.
We had the game room downstairs where the dining hall is now, or part of the dining hall. That used to be a game room with like pool tables and video games and things like that. So yeah, different clubs that at the time were the new thing, and they kind of fade away a little bit, but you never know when they might bring it back again.
Yeah. And then, one of the things that has always impressed me is the just the caliber of our student Congress leaders. And you've worked with our student Congress for many years.
Yes.
Any reflections on the student leaders at the college?
There's, like I said, there's some that I remember vividly and I still have contact with. Selma Mujevec, she was our program board director. I worked very closely with her. Then she became our trustee. She was just outstanding in whatever she tried to do. I mean, she just literally would take it from point A to point Z to make sure that it was done properly. And
worked in the 30 Rockefeller Center with NBC in various roles for the last decade or so now.
Yeah, exactly. She's
just incredible.
Doing marketing down there. So she's a big deal down in NBC. And she calls me every once in a while and she's like, "Guess who I just met?" I'm like, "Really? Come on."
Yeah. Yeah.
Different times when there's a hallway between her office and the Today Show, and they'll close it off if a big celebrity's coming in. She's like, "We can't walk down the hallway today." I'm like,
"Oh my gosh."
Megan Vogt, who was the president of Student Congress, she actually, has gone on to get her master's degree in social work. She's actually working for the federal government out in Rome for the veterans. So that's amazing that she's doing that still.
She was
I had-
president when, at the height of the recession, when we had, 7,600 students and
Exactly.
we had some issues with student discipline and
Yeah.
civility on campus. And,
Yep, and
and
she-
she and her officer club created that
Yeah.
civility summit, if you will, in the theater, in
Exactly.
the Schaefer Theater. And
Yep.
we ended up streaming, I think, because it was,
It was so
like
large.
overflow.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and she and I signed the civility pledge, and
Mhm.
yeah, that was a powerful. And then she came back to speak at graduation a few years later.
Yeah, she was our graduation speaker. So that, and I'm still trying to get Selma to come back, but she's got 2 little kids right now. So it's a little
Oh my
tough,
gosh, that's
um,
great.
but yeah, other students that stick out, McLean Tayo, he was our treasurer of student congress when we had a very large budget. It's not quite as large now, but we had a very large budget and he was just right on with everything that he had to do. And he was an engineering student here at the college. And this is a good story. He was an engineering student at the college and he ended up going up to Clarkson. And he actually won a scholarship to Clarkson because he was so involved here at the college with activities and events, and he was our treasurer. But he came back to visit me and he actually said the classes at Clarkson were easier, that it was harder here at MV, that he learned more at MVCC in his engineering classes than, he did, and it prepared him well for Clarkson, that it was a little bit easier at Clarkson. So I was like, wow, that's a great testament to MVCC.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Yeah,
private
so-
university.
With the student congress, we've had great student congress leaders over the years, but in recent years, you've been part of creating the Student Leadership Academy. Could you just share just a little bit of what that is?
Yes, the Student Leadership Academy is something that I'm very proud of. This is an opportunity. I reach out to faculty and staff here on campus and they nominate students that they have seen or they've interacted with and for the academy, and they participate in it. And it's a year-long process. The academy meets once a week, every Thursday for 2 hours. And it's workshops that are presented by different faculty or staff and on various topics, communication theory, ethics and morals. I'm trying to think what else we do it on.
Diversity and
speaking.
mentoring. And
Mentoring, public
there's so
speaking.
much. Yeah,
There's so many different topics.
It's like
but
an
it
extra
literally lasts the
2
whole
credit
year.
class.
Yeah, exactly. It literally should be a 2-credit class. And it's just amazing to see the students interact. And last year we had to do it through Zoom. And I was a little nervous about that. I was like, oh, how's this going to go? But our students stepped up to the plate. Our faculty and staff stepped up to the plate. And it literally was just as interactive as if they'd been there in person. It was wonderful. It really was. The students
So,
really
Sandy-
enjoy it.
Sandy, 35 years here at the college, plus your student time. What makes you stay and keep coming back?
I think it's the fact that we're making a difference in their lives. I literally get to see students in August and they'll come to me and they'll be like, our club wants to put on a proposal to Student Congress for some additional funding. And I will talk them through it and I'll help them a little bit. And you'll see them get up in front of the Student Congress members and you can see literally that they're literally like shaking. They're so nervous and, and they get through it and their proposal passes. And each time they do it, they get better. By May, they've got it down. They've grown so much. And it's really made a difference in their lives. They're so much more confident and self-assured. And it's just wonderful to see them grow and to watch them put on an event and see it be successful, that they planned it from A to Z and it's ends up being a huge success. They come in to my office afterwards and they're like, this was great. I love this, So yeah, it's wonderful to see the difference we're making.
Easy to get through the door every day, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
Sandy, thank you so much for helping MVCC celebrate 75 years.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being included. Thank you.